welcome into the finale. It is the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM, online at WEGLFM.com. You can also catch us on Eagle Eye TV Channel 6 or EagleEyeAuburn.com. You usually follow me in on that.
I'm not feeling it today.
You're not feeling it today. It is finals week here at Auburn University. And in our finale, we want to give you the best of the best. So we're packing in a big mega show. Listen up, there's going to be no commercials. It's going to be over an hour of us just talking. I know people just love that. Don't they just love to hear our voice, Brooks?
They love to hear my voice.
Soothing and relaxing, they say.
Or congested.
Yes, are you feeling any better getting over that little cold that you had?
Jared, I've had a cold, and today is the first day it's been out of the 40s here since Wednesday of last week. How do you think I'm feeling?
I gotta assume pretty good.
Also, Seattle lost the MLS Cup championship.
Yeah, they did
Saturday. So, not doing good.
Hey, just think about this. It can always get worse.
You're right. It could be like the Cleveland Browns.
So close, yet oh so far. We're the Cleveland Browns.
Can they just be relegated? Can we relegate the Cleveland Browns?
But who will we bring up from, I assume, the CFL?
No, we relegate them to college. We'll bring up Clemson.
We'll bring up the winner of the national championship?
Yeah, whoever wins the national championship gets to come up and play in the NFL.
Okay. Let's go for it. But
welcome to the NFL, Alabama football.
But with all that being said, do we really want Nick Saban back in the NFL?
Yes. Speaking as a college football fan, yes. Get him out of here, please.
Speaking of the NFL,
James.
Let's turn to the NFL. Did you catch that Sunday Night Football game against the Steelers and the Ravens?
Parts of it.
Did you see the end at least?
Yes.
It was a great game all throughout. Steelers beating the Ravens 39-38. Brooks, it's something on this show, we don't get to talk about the NFL that much. Not really as much as we would like to.
I would love to talk about the NFL more.
I mean, we're heavily focused on college football, and well, let's just be honest. It's just hard to pack everything into a 1 hour block.
That's very true.
That's why this show, like half the time when we're talking about something and we're going to break, and I'm just like, oh yeah, when we come back, we'll have this, and we never talk about it. It's because we have to fit into that time crunch. It sucks. It really does.
Whoa.
And your audio's on your computer.
That's true. So hopefully we got the notification noise in our recording.
So we can finally. This first block is all NFL. So I hope you're very excited for this.
I'm mildly excited.
You're mildly excited?
Yeah. Are we going to start out talking about the Steelers and the Ravens?
Yeah. Because it was one of the better games yesterday.
Because I was watching the second half, and at one point it dawned on me, I'm like, I don't remember. I didn't know the Big 12 season lasted this long.
You're right. There was two teams who are known for their defenses did not show up today. And that could be for a host of a number of situations. But Ben Roethlisberger, 500 yards. And guess what? Ben Roethlisberger was on my fantasy team until this week when I let him go. Look, I still won. You can't say the same.
Well, it's a 2-week game. She hasn't won yet.
Although I won the first week.
Although because Carson Wentz tore his ACL, my team is now gone.
We're going to talk about Carson Wentz in a second. But let's keep talking about the Ravens and the Steelers. And Joe Flacco didn't have a bad game. You know, for some reason, when the Ravens scored 38 points, I thought Joe Flacco went off. He didn't do that amazing. It's just the Ravens just found different ways to score. And the Steelers could not shake them for the life of them. But it was a really good game. I heard somebody say the Steelers are probably the weakest 11-2 team that there is because they always struggle in these type of games. It's not like, I mean, give the Ravens credit. I mean, they're a good team, but it's not like the Ravens are an overly great team. They're a team that the Steelers should have taken down easily. Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't say easily because this is always a highly contested rivalry. But the Steelers should have won this game by at least 2 scores.
They should have, and that was the thought process. I mean, the Steelers had to outscore the Ravens 19-7 in the fourth quarter to win this by a point.
Yeah, I didn't when the Steelers were up at the half, and then I'm like, okay, so Steelers got this. Ravens aren't. This wasn't a game. Sunday Night Football. Please choose better games. And then the Ravens came back in that second half. I'm like, whoa.
Well, let me tell you what happened, okay?
Whoa.
I'm laying, little old Jair's laying in his bed back in Smith Station, all right? All right? And then I'm flipping through the channels, okay? I flip back. I'm watching Family Guy, okay? I was like, it's 20-17. I'm going to flip back. I completely forgot to go back after halftime. So the Steelers are up 20-14, right? I flip back from Family Guy. The Ravens are up 31-20. And I'm like, what did I absolutely miss in this game to where that just turned around like that? And then the Steelers come back from that, and I watched that. They come back from that, and boom, big-time win right there for the Steelers. And Ben Roethlisberger's been having a great year. I think you can make the argument that Ben Roethlisberger is probably a dark horse for the MVP race.
I wouldn't put him there.
I say dark horse. He's had a great stretch.
If anyone on that Steelers team is in the MVP race, it's Antonio Brown.
I mean, true, but how long has it been since the wide receiver won MVP?
A wide receiver's never won MVP.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
This could be the year. Because did you see that catch last night when they were coming?
I mean, Antonio Brown's playing amazing, but you can't just discount what Ben Roethlisberger's done. He is the first quarterback. I want to make sure I get this stat straight. Ben Roethlisberger is the first quarterback to post 3 500-yard games in a season. I believe that is. No, that's just all time. That's not even a season. That's just all time. And I know that because one of the games was against the Colts. RIP. I remember that game. It wasn't fun. 2014. So Ben Roethlisberger is the first quarterback to record 3 500-yard games. That's a great stat for Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, I think if you had doubts that he was a MVP caliber quarterback now, then I think this solidified that MVP, Hall of Fame, all the above.
I mean, yes, Hall of Fame. MVP, you could make the argument that he's an MVP caliber quarterback. I don't think he's going to win it this year. I think you've got the more deserving MVP candidate on the Steelers, like I said, is Antonio Brown, by far.
Let's see. Ben Roethlisberger completed 63% of his passes for 3,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. Interceptions kind of hurt him a little bit. Because he had that one game where he had, 5?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But we don't talk about that game.
Why not, Jared? Let's talk about it.
Because it would hurt my credibility when talking about how he should be MVP.
No, talk about it. You've already hurt your credibility.
Another person who was in the running for MVP was Carson Wentz. And yes, I said was because I don't like his chances after what happened against the Rams. Carson Wentz putting his body on the line. He scored on that play, did he not?
I don't remember. Wasn't that the one he ran it in, got hurt, and they called it back?
It may be.
Because they didn't
talk about insult to injury.
Why?
Carson Wentz goes down with a injury. You if you were watching the game, you probably heard that they were afraid of the ACL injury. It was a couple hours ago that the Eagles announced that Carson Wentz has torn his ACL. He is done for the remainder of the regular season, and I have to assume that counts the postseason as well.
Well, I don't think you have to assume anything.
I mean, hey, the miracle of medicine these days, I don't know.
Jared, we have a friend out in the lobby right now that had tore his ACL in June and still can't play basketball in December.
Well, he shouldn't play basketball. So, and I'm looking at the report. It does say postseason. The update said regular season. This one says postseason. So,
I mean,
he's done. He's done. I mean, that's it. And Nick Foles will come to replace Carson Wentz. But, man, talk about a good sophomore campaign. Carson Wentz had it. I mean, the Eagles were rolling. And Carson Wentz probably was the favorite to win MVP up until this point. And now it's, well, it is what it is now.
Yeah.
So what does this do for the Eagles' chances? No, let's put it this way. The Rams may have lost that game, but in fact, did they win the game? Because now it's between the Rams, the Vikings, I guess you could say the Saints. The Rams, the Vikings,
whoever
Saints,
wins the
and
South.
Panthers. It's between those teams now. Because I don't want to be that guy, but I'm not sure the Eagles have a chance with Nick Foles.
Hey, Nick.
At quarterback for them.
I
still think they got a shot. Don't get me wrong.
There's a shot there. I've seen arguments this morning on Twitter about their complete team. They lost this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, and they're still winning. And they're still 11-2. But there's a common denominator there. You still had Carson Wentz, who's a great quarterback. He's going to be probably a Hall of Fame quarterback before it's over. He's so good. That's now the common denominator that's gone. Is you no longer have a Carson Wentz, you have Nick Foles, who Nick Foles was their quarterback.
If it didn't work the first time, what makes you think it's going to work the second time?
So
that's the real question.
They've already won the East, so they're in the playoffs.
They're in. He's done his job.
But I don't know if they get farther than maybe the second round, because if they get one of those wild card games, you don't know who's going to be the wild card team right now. It could be someone that they can beat with Nick Foles. So I think that they can, if the matchup falls right in the first round, because now that Wentz is out, I don't think they're going to get that 1 or 2 seed.
Don't die on me.
I'm trying not to. They won't get that 1 or 2 seed. But if they get a favorable matchup in the wild card weekend, I think they can get to that second round. But that's where it's going to hit them. And I don't know if they'll be able to withstand any farther than that in the playoffs without Carson.
I think that for the most part, it's over.
Now I'll say, as looking at the other side, the Patriots and the Steelers, who are the top 2 teams in the AFC right now, once you saw that Carson Wentz went down, your road to the Super Bowl just got a whole lot easier. Because the NFC is a good conference, but it's like, who's going to stand up and play? Like, who's going to challenge those 2 teams from the NFC? Right now, it's basically, hey, who gets to the Super? Like, it looks like who gets to the Super Bowl, and then whoever makes it through those 2, Pittsburgh and New England, that's who's probably going to win the Super Bowl.
So Carson Wentz goes down. Who's the best team in the NFC right now?
I'd have to say the Vikings.
Even after I lost to Carolina?
Yes, because Carolina's a streaky team. Carolina's a streaky team. Like, they're on some weeks, they're off some weeks. They're on some weeks, they're off some weeks. So this week they were on. Next week they could be off. I don't know who they play next week, but
no love for the Saints.
I mean,
they did lose to Atlanta.
They did lose to Atlanta. I just think,
but they were a hot team before then.
I just think that they need more than just. I think their offense is fine. Their defense is a little shaky. I think that if the Saints and the Panthers keep going the way they are, if the Panthers win this division, I think that the Saints could stumble in the wild card weekend. But if the Saints can go on, and I don't know if they can get one of those top 2 seeds anymore. If they get one of the top 2 seeds, they should be fine because they get home field advantage. It's on the road that I don't trust the Saints, especially like if you have to go on the road to a northern outdoor team.
Packers.
If you have to, for some reason, have to go to the Packers, or if you have to go to the Eagles, even though the Eagles don't have Carson Wentz, that's a Southern Dome team playing in a very cold Philadelphia in January. You don't trust that. You don't want to go to Buffalo. You don't want to go to Buffalo right now. That's why the Falcons. That's why the Falcons were so good last year, because they got that one seed, and they got to play all their games at home in the Georgia Dome. They didn't have to travel anywhere.
Yeah, you're
Once
right.
you start traveling to these northern cold outdoor teams and you're a southern dome team, things start to change for you. So, like I said, whoever wins the AFC, the Steelers or the Patriots or maybe someone else. Oh, if the Steelers or the Patriots win the AFC, right now it looks like it's their Super Bowl because I don't see another team in the NFC that could challenge them to the extent that the Eagles could have challenged either the Patriots or the Steelers.
Man, I still think the Rams are a dangerous team.
Now, the Rams are a really good team. I just don't know if they are a Super Bowl winning team yet.
I think with the landscape, the way the NFC is now, I think they can be. There was something up with the Rams defense. They are usually a lot better than that, giving up over 30 points. In the playoffs, I wouldn't expect that to happen. With Carson Wentz going down, I'm really liking the Rams and where they're at right now, even after the loss, because Jared Goff just shows so much that, look, I can win a shootout if need be, because the Eagles' defense was one of the best defenses going into that game, and he still carved them up. So if their defense can just figure out what is going on and fix that, they're a scary team to meet. So my money's on the Rams. Let's move over to the AFC. Let's move to the Houston Texans. Tom Savage, did you see the hit he took?
I didn't see the hit. I saw the result of the hit.
It wasn't good.
No.
When you're twitching, it's not good. Either two things are happening. Either you're hurt or you had a big thing of caffeine. And I don't think he had a big thing of caffeine. Tom Savage took a nasty hit in the second quarter. He comes back to play the game. Now, this leads into a bigger topic. But it seems like the NFL doesn't know what to really do with its concussion protocol. Like, the protocol is there for a reason, but it doesn't feel like the NFL's following it to a T. And I said the NFL, I mean the teams are following it to a T. Because when you saw what happened to Tom Savage, there was no way I thought he was coming back. I thought, man's done. I'll see you again next week. The good ride. I remember you saw that guy's job last year. You were a savage. No pun. No, all the pun intended. And then he's just right on back. So the NFL is actually investigating. The NFL and the NFLPA are investigating the process to bring Tom Savage back. And it's one of those bigger discussions of what role concussion and concussion protocol has in the NFL. And it's one of those touchy subjects because kids are shying away from football because of the concussions now. Parents don't want their kids playing football anymore because of these concussions. And you see all these deceased athletes having CTE. The big one lately being Aaron Hernandez, because that was the whole big thing. You know, being arrested for murder, then committing suicide in his cell, then finding out this man had, at a very young age, had very, very advanced, CTE. And it's like, wow, there could be players right now who have it, and they don't know what to do with themselves. So it's very important to protect these players at all costs. That's why there's so many targeting rules. That's why they protect so many players. It's because it's about the health of these players. And Tom Savage's health is a lot more important than the Texans winning a game. And putting him back out there, if he had a concussion, whether he did or not, they'll find out. But putting him back out there, I just felt like wasn't the best move. Bill O'Brien said that, he wouldn't have done it if he knew that, Savage could, injure himself even more. But he felt like he was ready to go. So, you got me coughing over here.
It's spreading.
I don't know what the NFL is going to do about these concussions or a process behind it. I'm starting to lean toward the feeling that they're going to just start saying, look, if you come out the game for concussion-like symptoms, you can't go back in. They may be leaning toward that.
But I think the moment he shouldn't have gone back in the game is when he started twitching on laying there.
I mean, that's a telltale sign.
Like
Yes.
once you see that, you're like, okay, you're done for the day. Go. You're
All right,
done.
take a break, head to locker room. Can't have this. But I feel like the NFL is going to start leaning toward that direction. That look, if this starts happening, if this is what you're going to be going through, if you just come up the game for concussion-like symptoms, then we're going to make sure that you don't hurt yourself. You're not coming back because your health is so much more important than what's going on. Okay, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about some other great games that happened this past Sunday.
Can we talk about the Blizzard game?
I was going to bring it up. Let's talk about the Blizzard game. So, backstory. My favorite team in the NFL, or the team that I prefer, if I'm trying to be unbiased.
We're not.
The Indianapolis Colts took on the Buffalo Bills. Another backstory. Sarah Palczewski, the sports director over at Eagle Eye TV. If you watch the Eagle Eye Bowl special preview over on YouTube.com or EagleEyeAuburn.com, you'll see Brooks Childress over there giving out his or revealing the bowl games along with Sarah and a lot of our other friends over there. Sarah is a Buffalo Bills fan, so we jabbed at each other all game about our teams. The Blizzard game, if you don't know, so Buffalo is near a lake, and the lake causes so much snow to be dropped in that area. So it's lake effect snow. So Brooks, they were saying that 6 inches to a foot of snow was going to drop during the game. I don't know if you saw any of the game.
I saw it.
It was like little 4-year-olds running in the snow.
I saw the game after the Panthers-Vikings game was over when CBS switched the coverage over to the overtime of that game. But I also saw like clips in between where they would like give updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Like literally on the kickoffs were the funniest thing because the player would catch the ball and then he was sort of like trying to high step through the snow because it's like 2 feet deep. One of the Colts players actually like slipped and fell, like trying to get the kickoff back.
I heard Adam Vinatieri didn't have a good field goal try.
He had a 33-yard attempt that barely got there, and it was wide right. Now, that being said, the Colts scored the touchdown with under 3 minutes to go. So, by the way, there was only there's 3 touchdowns in total. The Bills scored at the end of the second half, or end of the second quarter. It was a Kelvin Benjamin touchdown. The Colts literally scored with 3 minutes to go in the game. So then they go for 2. This is what upsets me the most. They go for 2, and they get it. The Colts are winning 8-7, but they called it back for offensive pass interference because Aiken, one of the wide receivers for the Colts, blocked the cornerback on a pick play. But what happened was he was within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage. It happened at the line of scrimmage, which usually should not be a penalty. You can block at the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
But they called it a penalty, so the Colts got moved back 15 yards. Adam Vinatieri had to try for a 40-plus extra point attempt. let me remind you, he missed 33. And Vinatieri screwballed that football in there. I sent you a Snapchat of it.
Yeah.
Where it started out wide right, and it just hooked back in. And the best thing you said was that ball blew from Indianapolis back in.
It did. It's like if you ever played on Madden the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Like the Gauntlet training. You know the level like where you're in like hurricane force winds and it makes you kick the ball at an angle where it like goes way over and then back through.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
So then this is what sucked. Overtime is now 10 minutes. And I was like, by God, it took these teams 60 minutes to score a touchdown each. There's no way someone's going to score within 10 minutes. The Bills scored with like 3 minutes to go in overtime. LaShawn McCoy, touchdown, snowball celebration. The Bills beat the Colts 13-7 in overtime. So I was pretty depressed yesterday. That sucked because we should have won the game on that 2-point conversion. But it's whatever. Got to tank.
You got to tank for that draft pick.
You got to tank. You just got to tank. What other exciting games were there?
Well, like I said, the Panthers and Vikings game was really good.
It was really
Like,
good.
Cam was I hate to say vintage Cam because he's like still young in the NFL, but it's vintage Cam. Did you see any of the highlights from that game?
I saw a good bit of the game. I saw his run to put a cap on it.
Well, that was amazing. Like, I didn't even know
so many ankles laid in his wake.
I was looking down at my computer when that happened, and I looked up, and I didn't know it was Cam running at first. I'm like, go, Jonathan, go. I'm like, go, Jonathan. And then
you probably should have knew that Jonathan Stewart is not that big.
Yeah, but I forgot Cam could run that fast. Like, Cam was booking it.
Cam was booking it.
Oh, man. And then that the pass into the end zone where he was, like, running around in the backfield, stopped, and then I don't remember who it was he found in the, like, get wide open in the, like, right at the goal line.
I don't remember.
But where he was under duress, trying to run around, find someone, and then the wide receiver just, like, snuck out behind the defense, and he's like, all right, he just hurled it. Like, he puts all his force behind every throw he makes.
Oh, yeah, he does.
And then he found him for a touchdown. That was...
But was Cam on that Super Bowl ad where throwing the ball at little kids and they were knocking them around? Was that Cam doing that Super Bowl ad?
I don't know.
I think it was Cam.
It was because it was when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was a Snickers commercial.
Yeah, it was a Snickers commercial. And they made fun of him rocketing footballs everywhere. And he was just pegging kids, like, all around the field. Well, he stiff-armed one, too, which was hilarious.
That was a play on... Do you remember the SNL skit with
Peyton Manning?
With Peyton Manning, the United
that was
Way?
great, too.
That was a great one.
That was great. Oh, man, now we're kind of getting off... kind of getting off track a little bit.
Anyway, that Panthers-Vikings game was a really good game. For a little bit, the Giants-Cowboys was a decent game.
Dez shredded the Giants.
And then, well, it was a good game, and then at the end, it was kind of like, hey, Dak and Dez are like, hey, we're the Cowboys. We can beat them.
I'll give you one more good game before we go on to our next topic. Jacksonville-Seattle was good. Seattle was playing like literally out of a Madden game with what Russell Wilson was doing. It felt like he was just throwing up passes and they were just running to the end zone with them.
Russell Wilson's like a Madden cheat code in real life.
That's what. Wait, update on that on my phone. I think Bleacher Report said it. Russell Wilson is godlike cheat codes.
Russell Wilson reminds me in real life of what Johnny Manziel is in Madden.
True.
True.
You should know. You got beat by Johnny Manziel in Madden.
It makes me so mad because every time I play Noah, he uses the Browns and he always makes Johnny Manziel his starting quarterback because we always play with what is it, Madden 16?
Yeah, it's one of the old ones.
And he's like, huh? And then he runs all this read option, not read option, but like just runs regular Browns offense, and then there's no one open. He will just take off with Johnny football. I'm like, this is not real life. Stop.
Let's get to our final topic on the NFL. Is the NFL still popular? Okay, so let me rephrase that question. Remember how people, and I think we both agree.
I was about to say, you might want to rephrase it because I could give you the one. We could end this topic real quick.
Well, let me rephrase this. Me and you both, I'm pretty sure, agree on this. College football is a lot more exciting to watch than the NFL.
That's my personal opinion. I think that's your opinion too. But
I like college football more than NFL.
For the majority of the country, that's not the case. But for our personal opinions, yes, I love college football much more than the NFL.
And that's been a trend for a long time. I feel like is college football is more engaging and exciting than NFL because NFL there's 32 teams, and if you're like in the state of Nebraska, you ain't got an NFL team. I'm sorry. You ain't rooting for anybody. But you have, in college, you have Nebraska.
Neither are you in Missouri either anymore. Wait, no, they still at Kansas City. I forgot about them.
Yeah.
Well, my joke fell flat. See you guys tomorrow.
So, in all 50 states, Okay, in 49 states, because I don't think Alaska has a football team. I think they just fight grizzly bears up there.
Wait, don't they have Alaska Anchorage?
But do they have a football team that's in D1?
I don't know about D1, but like.
Okay, it doesn't matter at that point. Look, in 49 of the 50 states, they have a college football team that you root for, that you feel some sort of connection to.
Sure.
And in our opinion,
are you saying Alaskans can't do that?
Look, I've seen what Alaska's outputted to the United States, Sarah Palin, and that wasn't good.
How dare you?
Yeah,
Alaska is a wonderful land. The only bad thing about it is bears.
I'm sure it is when it unthaws.
Well, global warming's taking care of that real quick. Hashtag, we've turned the show political. Hashtag, we don't need to. Hashtag, Alaska's fun.
You say one more hashtag, I swear. Shut up. Anyway,
Hashtag.
So the NFL, this has gotten completely off topic. This is what finals does to you. So the NFL has always been in the college football landscape shadow because college football just brings in so much money. Not the NFL doesn't, but college football just has a more ingrained fan base. This year, however, after the NFL's relaxed its policies on celebrations, which we all love, I don't think anybody said we don't like team celebrating. After they've done that, and we've seen the lack of defense per se, I feel like this is like a big year where defense hasn't been very much a focal point. We're seeing a lot of high scoring games. The NFL, more than ever, has been fun to watch this year. Do you agree with that?
I mean, as a football fan, I enjoy the NFL all around.
Yeah.
But
has this year been more exciting than past years?
Kind of, sort of. I've enjoyed watching it this year, one, because of the touchdown celebrations. That's really fun, like getting to see what teams come up with each week. Although there weren't that many good ones this past weekend. Like over the weekend, there hasn't been as many like noteworthy good ones this week.
No, not
think
that many.
Like I think we've hit the peak last week or 2 weeks ago when the Eagles defense did the electric slide. I think we've hit our peak there.
We hit our peak,
and then it's a plateau and there's nothing. But with the Eagles, the Snow Angels yesterday after the Bills won, but the Snow Angels, that was fun. But you knew was kind of coming.
You would think with the Steelers scoring 39 points and the Eagles scoring 43, there was going to be some sort of antics, and there weren't.
And the Steelers are always good for antics with touchdown celebrations. Do you remember the hide and seek?
Well, it doesn't help that Juju Smith-Schuster was sitting at home.
Well, that's also true.
So there's also that.
But one, I think the celebrations are helping. This year, also, there's a batch of good young players that are making the league exciting to watch, like Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Aaron Donald. Usually it was Juju Smith-Schuster, not this past week. But there's a lot of young, exciting. Deshaun Watson before he got hurt.
Makes me wonder what would be happening if T.O. and Chad Ochocinco were still here.
Yeah. Things may have gotten way out of hand already.
Oh, man. But the NFL, make the NFL great again.
I think it's fine. I don't think it's dropped. Like you said, is it pop? I think it hasn't. It's the number one TV show on 3 networks.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on the viewership side, but I think we could all agree that college football just is a different breed of animal than the NFL is. The more teams you have, the more games you have, the more fun it is.
There's arguments both ways. I think nationwide, the NFL is more popular than college football.
Like, put it this way: if the Giants for some reason beat the Patriots, it's like, oh man, the Patriots had a good game, or the Patriots had a bad game. The Giants for some odd reason won, and no, take that back. If the Browns somehow beat the Patriots, it's, oh my gosh, the Patriots had a bad game. Tom Brady's done for. We fired Bill Belichick. Whereas if a team like, trying to think of an upset, Iowa State beats Oklahoma, you get to storm the field. You get to plant flags. That's just so much more fun in college football. It's such a much different dynamic. So, but
what are you doing?
What do you mean? I'm segueing into the next part.
Oh.
There's no commercials.
I was about to say, I thought we weren't breaking.
No, there's no commercials. I am segueing into our next part of the show. Brooks, we're about 33 minutes into this show.
Cool.
And that was all NFL. We haven't gotten to college football yet. We haven't gotten to the NBA or NCAA basketball. We haven't gotten to Giancarlo Stanton and the Yankees. We haven't gotten to
super team that the Yankees are becoming.
Aren't you excited when I showed you the show rundown from today? It has Champions League in there.
Yes, I felt a little victorious because I've been lobbying for soccer talk on this show for a while.
That'll be toward the end, along with our bowl picks.
You usually just give me like 5 minutes every 3 weeks to maybe say one. The most extensive soccer we've ever done on this show was when I had my 15-minute rant on U.S. soccer after we did not qualify for the World Cup.
I feel like we all
Come on, guys.
I feel like we all needed that.
Everyone needed that.
Let's segue. Let's segue into
bunch of overpaid millionaires.
The NBA G League is planning on moving to Mexico.
What? No,
not the whole league.
Oh.
But they're planning on putting a team in Mexico.
I got scared because apparently Mobile is one of is a city that the Pelicans are looking at putting a G League team in.
That'd be nice.
And I was about to say, if they're moving the whole league to Mexico, there goes my team. There goes my local G League team.
So the NBA, which is the development league, used to be called the D League. The G League for Gatorade.
Is that really what it's for?
Yeah.
The Gatorade League?
Yeah. No, don't worry.
I didn't know what that meant.
Don't worry until we get to the bowl predictions and we start looking at all these bowl names. It's gonna be great. But
I didn't know it was the G League for Gatorade.
Yes,
League. That's unsettling.
So they're thinking about moving a team or putting a team in Mexico City to help out with the Mexico fan base. We've seen the NFL do it. We've seen the NBA do it. Major League Baseball had a game in Cuba, which I guess is not the same, but we're seeing a lot of our teams, a lot of our, sports leagues going out of the country.
Yes.
And who is going to be the first league to implant a team in Mexico?
That's a good question.
It's a great question.
I don't know.
And we're cutting out hockey in this because I don't think hockey would survive in Mexico.
I don't think ice survives in Mexico, except for maybe on the top of a mountain.
So between NFL, NBA,
they can put the arenas on top of a mountain.
So MLB, NFL, and NBA, who would be the first league to implant a team in Mexico? And actually, I'll change this up because for MLB that'd be pretty hard. Okay, who would be the first team to implant a team outside the United States that's not in Canada? Because for MLB, they kind of have a Mexico fan base, but it's more the Dominican Republic that they're kind of moving for, they have. So who would be the first one to put a team outside the United States that's not Canada?
I think the two most likely are MLB and NBA because they already have international teams, technically. They have a team in Canada. Both have a team in Canada. The NFL, the closest team they have to another country is Buffalo, and that's, and Seattle, I guess. Those are the closest you get to another country.
But see, the NFL is also the only league that's dabbled really in the London experiment. The NBA is going to London when I think the Celtics take on the Sixers over in London. I see we're pulling up a picture of the snow game between Buffalo and Indianapolis. They're buried in the snow, pretty much. That's what's going on. It was great.
Anyway, I just think a team that's already gone out of the U.S. is more likely to expand into another country. So the NFL is one of these the leagues that you could describe as they're willing to change, but not drastically.
See, I would agree with what you're saying, but you also have to look at the fact that the NFL is the league that's most ready now to do it. Like the NBA and the MLB, they're not ready to make another team yet. They're not ready to make an expansion yet. But the NFL is there. The NFL is ready to make an expansion. because they're moving around so many teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the NFL has shown that they're more likely to move teams around. I think one of the biggest things for the NFL is the question of rather, are we going to make a new team in Mexico City, or if we're going to move a team in Mexico City?
That would be a big debate is someone going to lose their team to move it to Mexico, or are we going to make a new team?
I think it would just be better to make a new team.
Because you saw how upset people got in St. Louis when they moved the Rams back. How people got upset in San Diego and Oakland when they're moving their teams. And that's just like San Diego just moved like up the road.
Honestly, I'm waiting for the moment that the NFL. This is a whole different discussion, but I'm waiting for the day that the NFL buys the CFL and turns the CFL into a development league. That's the day I'm waiting on, because then that means the NFL finally moved into Canada, which we've been waiting for.
That would take away the Canadian football rules too.
No, they keep it the same.
How can it be a development league if you...
we're just developing skill, not, It's not like it's that big of a transition from CFL rules to NFL rules. Oh, you have a bigger field. Oh, field goals are different.
Running starts.
We just make it a little bit more exciting. That's the day I'm waiting for. I think the team most likely, or the league most likely not, or at least to be last, I feel like is the NBA, because if Mexico City gets a team before Seattle gets a team in the NBA, this whole country is going on fire. This whole country is catching on fire.
And I could care less.
So I think that's what's going to happen. You saw that Seattle's doing renovations to their old arena because they're hoping the NBA comes back. So they're getting ready for it.
Or they're just getting ready for another rendition of Disney on Ice.
That's also possible. You're proud of that joke, aren't you?
Yes.
You're very proud of that joke.
Because it's very relevant to me, because we've got around at Mobile and Pensacola, we've got the Mobile Civic Center, which is a decent-sized arena, and the Pensacola Bay Center, which is also a decent-sized arena. The Pensacola Bay Center actually houses a minor league hockey team, or it's a minor league hockey team. But that's our main attractions to those two arenas. Like, we used to have basketball and stuff played there, but now it's Disney on Ice and Monster Jam. And occasionally Kevin Hart came to Mobile.
I remember. You were telling me that on our way to Baton Rouge for the LSU game.
That was probably one of the biggest events to happen to Mobile in a while, was Kevin Hart came.
Because then we talked about ISO Church.
Yeah, ISO Church. I forgot about ISO Church.
Do we have to explain what ISO Church is now?
No, I think that's be saved for a later date.
We kind of have to explain it now.
Oh, man.
We were driving past a billboard going to Baton Rouge for the Auburn LSU game, and we saw a billboard that talked about ISO Church. So Brooks and I have
I'm sure it was like ISO Church. It was probably in search of the Lord or in search of church, something like that. But we've drastically changed the meaning.
We've drastically changed it to the Church of Basketball, ISO Church. And the first book is the book of ISO Joe, chapter 1, verse 1. Then there was light. I don't know. I have to write the rest of it.
We're going to have to write the ISO Church Bible?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Brooke, we should really have that done by the time we come out for our next show next spring.
No. I'm still writing the tale of Will Hastings, though, of the Will Hastings, our folk hero.
There once was a guy named Will Hastings. He caught a touchdown, and then we haven't seen him for 3 months. The end. It's literally what that is.
Jared, it's got to be on the level of like Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed.
Okay. Irrelevant. Got it.
How dare you?
Now moving on to some... Let's talk about Auburn.
American folk heroes.
Let's talk about Auburn. Auburn basketball.
I don't want to talk to you. You disrespected American folk heroes. I'm not talking to you for 5 minutes.
We literally have not talked about Auburn basketball on our show this year. Auburn took on UAB last Sunday. Wait, was it Sunday?
It was this past Saturday.
I get my days mixed up. I'm studying finals. Auburn took on UAB, defeated them 85-80. Bryce Brown, 27 points. Coakley for UAB, a monster in the paint, 26 points. But Auburn moves to 8-1 on the year, still not ranked in the new AP polls. However, Auburn getting a big win. Here's a fun fact for you, Brooks. Auburn last year had 10 games where they out-rebounded their opponents. 10. That was it. In their 9 games this year, you want to know how many times they've out-rebounded their opponents?
Out of how many games?
9.
Is it 9?
It is 9.
Ooh.
Auburn has out-rebounded their opponents in every single game. That's even counting the Temple loss. They've done it 9 times already this season, 10 last season, and they've done it all without Austin Wiley. All right, calm down with the Coke.
I'm sorry.
They've done it all without Austin Wiley, which is a big accomplishment for this team. Now, Deshaun Murray is either 3rd or 4th in the SEC in rebounding, which is a great stat as well. This team can rebound very well, and they do not have Austin Wiley.
This is a really good, this is one of the better Auburn teams I've seen in the 22 years I've been alive. Now, granted, I didn't care about Auburn basketball when I was 3 or 12. Well, I didn't really get into Auburn basketball.
Wait, do you know what year you were born?
I remember not really getting into Auburn basketball until I think who was the coach right before Tony Barbie?
Don't care.
The coach right before Tony Barbie, his last year was the year I got into Auburn basketball. And so it's been, since I started caring about Auburn basketball, this is the best team I've seen Auburn field in a while.
Yeah.
The only problem I see is they can't finish. So, this past weekend, maybe not this past weekend, but there's been games they've gotten up to good size leads.
Like George Mason, where they literally went up 22-0.
And Gardner Webb, they let these teams back into the games.
Either George Mason or Gardner Webb that they went up 22-0. I forget which one it was.
It's probably both.
I mean, honestly, it probably has been both.
But they have a hard time keeping their foot on the gas and keep going, and they let these other teams back into games when they shouldn't be. And I think that's something they'll have to work on going down the stretch, and it's going to be a big test this weekend when they go play in Birmingham against Middle Tennessee, because Middle Tennessee's a good basketball team.
You're right. They're taking on Middle Tennessee this Saturday.
Up in the Ham.
Up in Birmingham. And that should be a good one. I think it's a tournament, correct?
I don't think it's a tournament. I just think it's like a showcase. Because UAB is playing Alabama A&M before, and then it's Auburn versus Middle Tennessee.
Okay, so the winner of those two games are not going to play each other.
No.
They're just showcasing.
It's just a showcase game.
Okay.
But it's going to be a big test for Auburn because Middle Tennessee is probably they're not the best team that Auburn's played this year. Temple's by far the best team they've played this year so far, but Middle Tennessee's one of the better teams
Middle Tennessee was a tournament team.
Yes.
So take it seriously.
They're one of the better teams they're going to play in this non-conference schedule, and maybe even once they get into the conference schedule, Middle Tennessee is probably better than some of the lower SEC teams, but they have to get off if they do like they've been doing, get off to a fast start and get up big. They need to keep their foot on the gas because if you let Middle Tennessee back into the game, they will win this game.
Auburn, 22nd in the nation in points per game at 87.1, 14th in the nation at rebounds, 42 rebounds per game. This is a sneaky good Auburn team without their top 2 players in D'Angelo Purifoy and Austin Wiley. So when they come back, I don't know what's going to happen.
If they come back, if they are able to come back this season, Auburn will be a really good team.
If they come back this season,
they have a good chance. I've watched some of Kentucky basketball this year, and I've watched a little bit of Florida basketball. And
Florida should be interesting.
If D'Angelo and Austin Wiley are able to come back this season, Auburn's got a really good chance to win this conference. Right now, they've got a decent chance to win the conference, but it goes up exponentially if the Auburn Tigers get Austin Wiley. If they get Austin Wiley and D'Angelo Purifoy back, their chances to win this conference go up exponentially.
Either way, it's going to be fun to know that this team is going to a tournament because there's no way we miss NIT now.
I hope. We should have gone to one of those, like the little tournament that the CBI, whatever we were going to get invited to last year.
The one that Bruce turned down.
Yeah.
Hey.
We should have gone there just to get the guys' experience in a tournament setting, but then...
You know who's not going to get some tournament experience?
Who's that?
LiAngelo Ball. And the reason why?
He gone.
LiAngelo is no longer with UCLA.
Oh, no.
Never played one game with the Bruins.
Wow.
After the whole China incident, LeVar Ball decided the best thing to do, because the punishments were unfair, was to pull his son out of UCLA. He is now looking at overseas options.
Wouldn't it be funny if the only team that would get them was a team from China?
I wouldn't know what to say.
I think it'd be hilarious.
Would that be the definition of karma?
Be the definition of irony.
LaMelo, the youngest, is also looking at overseas options. So it looks like neither one of them will play a game for UCLA. So Lonzo will be the only one to play for UCLA out of that trio.
And I think UCLA should be rejoicing, because Lonzo by far is the best of the three brothers. The other two are not going to be. I don't think they're going to be top draft picks.
Well, LiAngelo is apparently the best shooter.
Wow, I think
one thing about Lonzo's a passer.
Yes.
He's going to run your offense. He's not going to drop 30 points a game. That's supposed to be LiAngelo. That's like, well, what do teams value more? Somebody can run the offense, somebody can score. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be somebody who can score.
It depends on which team it is. Like, if you're the Lakers, they took Lonzo. They needed someone to run their offense because they are one or two pieces away from possibly being a 500 team. I hate to say that.
I thought you were going to say playoff, but no, okay.
A 500 team, getting to a 500 team, and then the next step's getting to the playoffs.
I mean, 500 may be playoffs these days.
Well, not in the Western Conference. Western Conference is pretty.
If the Warriors
stacked.
beat up on everybody, that's 500. That's a playoff spot.
But I think UCLA has to be rejoicing because they've already had the best. I think, in my opinion, they've already had the best brother, and you get rid of the circus storm that surrounds the Ball family.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with LeVar anymore. You don't have to deal with the Big Baller brand anymore.
Oh, you don't like the Big Baller brand?
No. Plus,
undefeated, never lost.
Which one of the two younger ones was probably getting a shoe out of Big Baller brand?
I think all of them are getting a shoe.
Yeah, but like
Lonzo has one.
I know Lonzo has one, but like one of them was already looking at shoe designs.
Probably LiAngelo because he was at UCLA.
That could have put his eligibility into question.
I mean, yeah.
So,
or it may have been LaMelo actually because he's in high school, so they went ahead and tried to do it, and it may mess with his eligibility. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. He's going overseas.
Yeah. So
to I don't know.
I say
random country generator, Kenya. I don't know.
I say congrats UCLA. You got the best brother out of there. You made a decent run in the tournament with him, and now you get to sit back and play basketball, and you don't have to worry about appeasing anyone's dad or hearing the dad run their mouths at your basketball games all the time. You look at the Lakers and you go, "Ha! Is your problem now?"
Well, let's. This is funny because I didn't even, when I was putting together the rundown for the show, I did not see this. We're still going to talk about UCLA, but we're talking about an opponent of theirs, Montana.
The Grizzlies?
Yes.
The Fighting Grizzlies of Montana?
So Montana was supposed to play UCLA last Wednesday, but because of the wildfires, they weren't able to, okay? So, do you know what Montana did?
I don't know what they do. Did they go play actual grizzly bears?
No, but it's even better than what you think it is. So on their actual Twitter page, that they tweet out stuff about the game and all that.
Okay.
They went ahead and tweeted as if there was an actual game going on. Yes. And I'm about to read all the tweets for you right now. So,
no.
The first tweet, starting at 11:56 a.m., whatever time they're at. I think they're in UCLA, so West Coast time. We didn't have a game last night, but what if we did? We were expecting to play number 23 UCLA. So what would our Twitter updates have looked like if we did play the Bruins? And then it descends into madness. The following tweets are to provide a little Twitter fun. We are in no way making light of these serious dangers affecting the Los Angeles area and community. So then, first tweet, closing in on tip-off at the famed Pauley Pavilion. The late arriving crowd is still dealing with the typical LA traffic. They have a photo of LA traffic and then a photo of the arena with nobody in there except for a couple of guys warming up. So that's what they have for their first tweet. Their second tweet, they actually put out their starting 5 lineup on Twitter. I'm going to pull it up for everybody to see. They actually put out their starting 5 lineup on Twitter. So, and in every tweet from here on, they put a little asterisk at the bottom. This one says there's not an actual game being played. And so then they talk about, Montana's off to a 9-2 start behind 5 points from Ahmad Rory. And then asterisk, no, we're not, because there's not an actual game being played. And then on to Montana takes a 17-8 lead at Pauley Pavilion. Asterisk, unfortunately, there's no game actually being played. On to UCLA comes back. It's 24-21. Another asterisk, we had to make a fake game somewhat realistic, right? Because, UCLA should have come back in this game. And then they actually even put up the halftime graphic that says 38-37. Like there's an actual game going on.
This is getting out of hand. This is already out of hand.
Asterisk, none of this is true because there's no game being played. So then, talk about we're getting ready for the second half. Asterisk, the nice thing about fake games is that you can make up whatever you want. Then they put a picture of their coach, and he says, coming out of the locker room, and he chatted on the air with the Pac-12 network. They put 2 asterisks. A, no, he didn't. And B, the Pac-12 network is no longer broadcasting this game because it's not actually happening. And then
my gosh.
UCLA starts the second half and takes the lead. Asterisk, fake news. And then they start putting GIFs and then little GIFs of NBA Jam, the old video game. And they kept going. They put a GIF of LeVar Ball because that's funny. And then they kept going. And the Grizzlies won 85-80. And even on the graphic, it had an asterisk on it because, by the way, there's no game that was being played. And that's what Montana did that day because there was no game.
Someone's got too much. They've got too much time on their hands in Montana. Go wrestle a grizzly bear or something.
I mean, Brooks, the way I look at it, this better end up on Montana's resume for the NCAA tournament.
Asterisk fake win.
I mean, honestly, why not? But with that being said, it's time for us to segue into our last part. Brooks, we are 57 minutes strong. No break for this season finale. I'm trying to make it. I think we're going to make it. I'm not sure your laptop made it.
No, because I thought I had the charger plugged in, but the part that connects to the actual outlet came unplugged at some point.
Well,
so it's dead.
There's one casualty on this show already. Will there be more?
Live!
But moving on to our last segment, Giancarlo Stanton is now a New York Yankee. Giancarlo, we thought there could be a chance he's going to the Giants. Thought there was a chance he'd go to the Cardinals. I really thought the Giants had the better chance. I really thought he was going to San Francisco.
You fools. The Yankees were always going to get him. They're building a super team.
And then he says no to both teams, and out of nowhere, in come the Yankees.
Here's 3 years from now. Here's my projected lineup for the Yankees. Outfield, Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, DH. They don't have any other money to afford anyone else, so it's all minor leaguers down in the infield and catching.
Goes 162 now?
Yes. No, they lose. They only go 500, but they break all the records for home runs.
Okay. But
that's your projected lineup for like 3 years from now for the Yankees.
So about an hour ago, Giancarlo Stanton was introduced in the Yankees press conference. He has been throwing shade at Miami, not the fans, but more the organization. Because let's be honest, they have been a little bit dysfunctional.
I saw a tweet and it said, Derek Jeter, he's the new part owner of the
Marlins.
Marlins is like Derek Jeter's still the Yankees MVP.
I mean, Giancarlo Stanton's a Yankee, and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Are you kidding me? That's scary. That's scary, son.
Derek Jeter's about to leave and become part owner of the Nationals, so he can like work some way to.
That's what he's going to do. He's going
Bryce Harper.
He's going to hop around from team to team and like start trading away all their best players to the Yankees. Well, Giancarlo Stanton is a Yankee now, and the Yankees are now, I think, the favorite to win the World Series.
They're the favorite to like break all the home run records.
I mean, yes, but that was kind of a given.
I don't think any ball is going to stay inside Yankee Stadium now. Like literally inside. Aaron Judge reached kept reaching the back of the stadium. I think Giancarlo is going to send it over. Like he's just going to start hitting the road outside.
He's going to send it to Buffalo.
He's going to send it if it's facing that way. If it's facing the other way, he's going to send him to London.
Ooh, and then just like that, Major League Baseball will be the first to expand into a country outside of Canada. See?
People are going to stand in Piccadilly Circus in London with baseball mitts and catch Giancarlo's home runs. Here comes another one.
We've waited 4 days for this one, and it finally comes down. All right. Let's transition. Celtics, they're on a streaking streak.
That was a quick Major League Baseball season.
The winter meetings just started. There's something for us to talk about.
The Royals are looking at the Braves' Matt Adams.
That's the first time I heard the word Royals in like 6 months.
It's the first Royals fans have heard about the Royals in 6 months. The Royals are apparently interested in Braves first baseman Matt Adams.
Former Cardinals player Matt Adams.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
The Braves also got hit with a lot of sanctions. Anyway.
All right, perfect time to go to the NBA.
Celtics, are they better than the Warriors?
No.
I feel like every time we go to the NBA, that's the first question I'll lead off with.
No.
Are the Celtics better than the Warriors yet? No. All right, let's move on.
Keep moving.
But
I think the Celtics could have a really good chance to, like always. Hold on, let me bring up every time we talk about this. I think the Celtics have a really good chance to win the East, but I think the Warriors are the favorites to win the NBA.
Let's stop at the East because the Cavaliers are back. Okay, remember like 4 weeks ago when we talked about the Cavaliers and their struggles? Okay, they actually made it back this time.
Are you sure?
Are the Celtics still better than the Cavs?
I think not on a one-game basis. I think if you play a 7-game series, I think the Celtics have a chance to win it. But like if you give them one game, I think the Cavs win.
Well, Isaiah Thomas is going to try to find a way back, and we're talking about the Cavs, we're talking about the Warriors, talking about the Celtics, and I just want to point out the Rockets have the best record in the NBA.
James Harden's throwing up. I think James Harden just threw up another 3.
Probably. During this show, which has now reached the hour point, James Harden has probably scored 50 points and 15 turnovers. I got to put that in.
In a pickup game at his son's elementary school.
Okay. Let me change that 50 to 500.
No.
And let me change that 15 to 14.
No, it's still 50.
Oh, man. I'm kind of getting lackadaisical with this show now.
I like that word.
Going with no breaks, and we have to do bold predictions, which that's going to be a whole nother thing.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. Champions League. All right.
Victory.
I know you're excited for this. Champions League. Let's go into Champions League. We're going to hit the bold predictions after that, and then we're going to end this, what has become a nightmare for me, because I think I'm seeing like 2 of you now. Okay? So
join us. Join.
Champions League. Brooks, you always love to talk about soccer. Here it is. Champions League is here. Let me go over who is playing who. So, I'm going to go by date. So, these are the games starting in February. February 13th, Juventus takes on the Tottenham Hotspurs, while FC Basel 1893 takes on Manchester City. Then February 14th, FC Porto takes on Liverpool FC. And here's a big game. The one that people are going to be talking about. Real Madrid takes on PSG, Paris Saint-Germain.
That's going to be a great game because it's going to be it's going to be now.
I mean,
Ronaldo,
it's the reunion.
No, it's not.
No, Ronaldo and Messi. I mean, not Messi. Damn it.
Neymar played for Barcelona.
Yes, but it's the reunion. Like they're playing each other again.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not a reunion.
Yes, it is.
No, it would be a reunion if they were played on the same team.
No,
anyway,
it's a reunion. Look, I'm just going off the feed that Bleacher Report gave me. Okay.
It is.
By the way, let me interject. Josh McCown, quarterback for the Jets, done for the season after a broken hand.
Well, I mean, it's the Jets. They were already done.
Hey, look, it was football. We're talking about football. I thought it was appropriate.
You thought wrong. Anyway, it's gonna be interesting to see because it's gonna be Neymar versus Ronaldo without Messi and Luis Suarez, because Neymar always had Messi and Luis Suarez with him when they played Ronaldo, but now that he's gone to PSG, he has none of that. He's got PSG's a good team, but he doesn't have the superstar quality of Messi and Luis Suarez going up against Ronaldo and Gareth Bale that it used to be there. So that's going to be a really interesting match, both of the matches, because I believe it's a two-leg deal.
And then on top of that, and speaking of a two-leg deal, you are right, because these are all the first leg I'm talking about. Still on the first leg, on February 20th, Chelsea takes on Barcelona, and Bayern Munich takes on, I don't even know how to say that.
What is it?
It is a lot of squigglies in that name. It is Besiktas, JK.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. That's what I'm going to call them the Bees. They're going to take on the Bees.
The Bees' knees.
Yeah. And then the final first leg, Wednesday, February 21st, Sevilla FC takes on Manchester United, and Shakhtar Donetsk takes on AS Roma. And then the second leg, March 6th, Liverpool against FC Porto, PSG, Real Madrid. On March 7th, Tottenham, Juventus, Manchester City, FC Basel. And then March 13th, Manchester United, Sevilla, AS Roma, Shakhtar Donetsk. And then March 14th, Barcelona, Chelsea, and then the Bees' Knees and Bayern Munich.
The Bees' Knees.
And every single soccer fan that knows soccer, that I mispronounced their team name, are going to riot now.
No, they don't. They don't listen to the show. They know we're not a soccer show.
Hey, our Twitter account has a very substantial soccer following for some odd reason.
You're darn right.
Oh man, so that is the Champions League. I'm not even gonna say.
It's my continued grasp at trying to get soccer on this show more and more.
More and more. You never know. Brooks, do you have a pencil on you?
Nope.
We have to mark down who we think's going to win somehow. Because now we're finally going to...
This helps when you bring your backpack in here.
We're also now going to move on.
I've got 2 Eagle Eye pens.
That'll work. Eagle Eye TV.
Channel 6.
We are now going to move on to our bowl predictions.
I just want to point out, I'm going to say one thing to one particular audience member. Blaine, my brother, if you're watching this, these are not my official bowl. These are the show bowl predictions. These aren't between me and you. Mine will come later this week, and I will crush you.
Not if I crush you first.
Are you talking for Blaine?
For Blaine and for myself. Because Brooks, we are about to face each other right now in these bowl predictions. So, With that being said,
Heck yeah.
let's start. Do you want to start with the college football playoffs, or do you want to start?
Let's build up to the college football
Let's
playoffs.
build
Those
up?
are
Okay.
actually the last two.
So for the next, I don't know, like probably 20 minutes, we're going to be like flipping around papers and stuff. You're going to be hearing papers flip around because I printed out a whole
ESPN article.
I printed out a whole thing detailing each game, the name and everything.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, are we actually going to start with this first bowl game?
Yes.
Oh,
it's
my
a bowl
goodness.
game.
It's not a real bowl game. They're FCS opponents, but I would take
The
it.
Celebration Bowl, December 16th. Guess what? It's in Mercedes-Benz. I know how much we love that place.
Yeah, woohoo. We have to because we have to play there 3 times in a row.
North Carolina A&T takes on Grambling. North Carolina A&T is trying to go undefeated after beating NC Central 24-10. While Grambling linebacker Dearius Christmas, oh no,
I love that name.
Dearius Christmas was named SWAC Player of the Year after tallying 77 total tackles and 15 and a half tackles for losses.
Jared, you want to know how much of each of these teams I've watched this year?
I have watched Grambling.
I've watched 0 minutes of both of these teams. Would you like me to go ahead and make my predictions so we get this out of the way? I'm taking Grambling because I know they exist and they're near. I know they're from Louisiana and I live close to Louisiana.
I'm going to take North Carolina A&T. I think that
that's my breakdown too.
I think they can complete the perfect season, especially quarterback Lamar Renard, who has 26 touchdowns, 2,700 yards passing. I think he's a player to watch. So I am going to pick North Carolina A&T.
I like it. Already some adversity.
Okay.
This way we already get like someone's winning out of the gate.
So here we go.
All right, the real bowl games.
Here we go. Troy versus North Texas in our R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl.
This is one of my favorite early bowl games because it's always a Sun Belt. It's always been a Sun Belt. And this game used to be like an 8 o'clock at night.
Fun Belt.
I'm sorry, Fun Belt. It used to be an 8 o'clock at night on the first night. And it was always a decent, like a lot of these games early are between like little conferences. Like this is the Sun Belt versus, I don't know who North Texas is anymore.
Oh, I mean, they got stomped by FAU, so there's that.
They must be in Conference USA then.
They're the Mean Green.
So, you know what their mascot's named for?
What?
Mean Joe Green.
Really?
Because he played at North Texas, and they were the Eagles. That's why their mascot is whatever that is. Or that's why their logo is that. But they're like the Mean Green is for Mean Joe Green. So basically, Mean Joe Green is their mascot.
Here's this. Will Neil Brown still be the head coach of Troy after this?
I mean, he hasn't gotten a job yet. And I think he needs another. He will probably still be there.
I mean, there's always a possibility that another job opens up for some odd reason, and he's able to take that job.
I don't know if he's going to get. I think if he was going to, he's a good enough coach. If he was going to get a bigger job, he would have gotten it by now. And plus, all the jobs are like getting filled.
That's
I think
true.
SMU is getting Sonny Dykes, former Cal coach. I think they're going after him.
All right, let's pick.
All right,
I'm picking Troy.
I like Troy too. I got firsthand experience watching Brandon Silvers play in the bowl game last year because I went to what game were they at? The GoDaddy Bowl last year when they were in Mobile. Not the GoDaddy, Dollar General Bowl. And I really like him. Plus, he probably beat Robert still because he did play at Gulf Shores High School. So I like Troy. I think North Texas is a fine team, but they're not we're going to beat Troy caliber team, especially in New Orleans. Troy, I can say when Troy goes to bowl games, Troy fans do travel with them.
The Auto Nation Cure Bowl. These are all still December 16th. It is Western Kentucky versus Georgia State. Western Kentucky quarterback Michael White has 3,800 yards passing this season with 24 touchdowns. Now, Western Kentucky did go from 11-3 to 6-6, but they're still playing for a big bowl game for them. And for Georgia State, wide receiver Penny Hart, sophomore wideout, has 1,000 yards receiving with 8 touchdowns. And this is the first season under new coach Sean Elliott, making this the second bowl game ever for Georgia State.
Where is this? This in Orlando?
It is in Orlando, Camping World Stadium. This is a hard one to pick.
Western Kentucky used to be really good in Conference USA, when they had one of my favorite quarterbacks from this past decade is Brandon Doughty. Do you remember Brandon Doughty?
Yeah.
He was lighting up the record books. I love Brandon Doughty. And now this team, now they've lost their coach to Purdue. I just don't trust Georgia State. I'll tell you, this is going to take a lot longer because every time I look at this, I'm going to start thinking about like old games I watched. One of my favorite.
I don't know how much that GoPro has left.
One of my favorite.
In it.
One of my favorite games I watched, and you're gonna like everyone's gonna be like, you watched that game? It was a few years ago. It was the first game of the college football season. It was Abilene Christian visits Georgia State, and it was a decent game. Like you wouldn't think it would be a good game, but I think Georgia State won on a last-second field goal to win it. But I digress. I'm taking Western Kentucky because I like their. I think they've got more talent than Georgia State, and even though they're 6-6 now, I think they can still beat Georgia State.
I'm also taking Western Kentucky in that game as well. I don't think Georgia State's ready for this kind of game against Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's been there. Georgia State has not. The Las Vegas Bowl. Okay, this is the good one. Boise State, number 25 Boise State takes on Oregon in Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. So Boise State coming off a big one. Boise's Bronco Bowl streak has reached 16 straight seasons, which is the longest of Group 5 programs, and they only trail Florida State, Virginia Tech, Georgia, Oklahoma, and LSU in their bowl streak. However, Oregon, this one's changed because Willie Taggart is no longer there, so I don't know what that's going to mean for Oregon. And quarterback Justin Hubert has been a big one for the Ducks, 6-1 with them, 1-4 without. So Oregon has the players, but do they have the personnel to beat a Boise State team after Willie Taggart left? Is that going to affect them?
I think it will affect them. I don't know if it'll affect them that much because their offensive coordinator, Mario Cristobal, is now their head coach. So it's not going to affect them that much. Boise State's a good team. I just don't think they're on the caliber of past Boise State teams. I think Oregon has something to prove that, hey, we can win without you, Willie Taggart. And they're kind of hurt that he left because a lot of players have come back and said...
Oh, a lot of players.
...have said that he betrayed them. And so they're going to want to prove that they can win without him. I'm going to take the Ducks in this one. Let's go.
I'm also taking the Ducks.
I'm also a semi-fan of Oregon football.
The Gildan New Mexico Bowl. Marshall takes on Colorado State.
I don't know if everyone can hear, but my stomach has started to growl. I'm really hungry.
That's why we have to hurry up because I'm tired. That GoPro's about to die, so everybody at Eagle Eye is gonna not be able to see us anymore.
No.
And you're hungry.
I'm very hungry.
All right, so we gotta go.
We're not gonna go fast, are we?
Let's kick it into overdrive. Gildan New Mexico Bowl, Marshall, Colorado State. Who do you got?
This used to be one of my favorite bowls to watch because it was always the.
All right, let me stop you right there. I'm picking Marshall.
It was always
this game.
It was always the first bowl game of the year, and it was always really fun. I don't remember who it was a few years back, but it was I think Arizona played in it against someone, and it was a great game. I'm taking Colorado State. I just like the Rams. I think they are I think they're a good team from the Mountain West, and I haven't heard anything from Marshall this year. They've just been an average team.
All right, here we go. Here's one for us right here. It is the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl down in Montgomery. Yeah.
Hour and a half away.
Crampton Bowl. Middle Tennessee and Arkansas State.
This is a tough game because both of these teams are on those borderline teams that you're with. I think I'm gonna have to go with just eyeballing it here because we don't prepare for this show.
I prepared. I printed these out.
I'm gonna have to go with Middle Tennessee. I like what they've done this year in the Conference USA. I just don't trust Arkansas State because they're a very streaky team. I'd have to say. Some years they're on, some years they're off. So I'm gonna go Middle Tennessee.
I'm going to go Arkansas State. I just think their defense is great. Javon Rollin Jones is one sack away from getting the FBS record in sacks. So watch out for that. That'll be a good one. December 19th. Here we go. It is a Cherry Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. Yes.
I'm still going to find that. I know where it is. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to buy this juice, whatever this is.
The Cherry Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl between Akron and FAU. Let me stop you right there. We're both picking FAU.
I like Akron, though, because
All right, stop it. Stop
Terry
it.
Bowden. Terry Bowden's still their head coach.
Care.
Akron's been a good team.
Lane Kiffin
but
and the rest of that.
Lane Kiffin is going to win this ball game because it's a home game.
Lane
They're playing
Kiffin
at FAU.
Lane Kiffin and East Mississippi Community College is about to stomp
Can you
Akron.
Can you imagine that bowl trip? Like, hey guys, we're going to a bowl game. Yay! Guess what? It's here. Oh, you don't get to go anywhere.
All right, let's go on to the next one. It is the DXL Frisco Bowl. I just saw this. When did it become DXL?
When did the Frisco Bowl hasn't been a thing either? This is the first year for the Frisco Bowl.
No, it has been a thing, hasn't it?
This is the first year for the Frisco Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Louisiana Tech takes on SMU.
You remember the Miami Beach Bowl?
Yeah.
This is it. Like they moved the Miami Beach Bowl from Miami to Frisco and named it the DXL Frisco.
I just realized it's in Frisco, Texas.
Yes.
All right. SMU. That's how I'm doing this from now on. SMU.
It's again, this is another one of those bowl games. It's like, hey, guess what? We're going to a bowl game. Yay, guess what? It's down the road in Frisco. What? No. I'm going to also take SMU. I think they're a really good team, even though they've lost some key coaching pieces. I just don't trust Louisiana Tech.
Oh, my favorite bowl game, December 21st. It is the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl down in St. Petersburg, Florida, in Tropicana Field, which for some reason this field always looks terrible when they play.
Well, it looks terrible in, like, Rays baseball games, too. It's like the weird AstroTurf stuff they used to have in the Georgia Dome.
It's Temple taking on, guess what? I didn't know they were bowl eligible, FIU.
Butch Davis.
Florida Atlantic University.
Was their head coach. We're learning new things every day.
So Coach Geoff Collins of Temple righted the ship, and Temple was able to get into bowl eligibility. And then aside from that one game they had against UCF, they've been pretty good down the stretch. So give me Temple in this game.
I don't trust Temple. Matt Rule, when he left, he kind of took a piece of Temple with him.
You can't pick Florida International in this game unless you know where they're at. Like in what city?
It's Fort Lauderdale, isn't it?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I think it's Fort Lauderdale. FIU. I'm going to take FIU because I like Butch Davis as a head coach, and they also get technically a home field advantage. They get to play in their home state. Again, another one of those bowl games. It's like, hey guys, we get to go to a bowl. Guess what? It's like an hour and a half north of us.
His name too closely resembles Butch Jones for me to pick him. Sorry.
We still need to make a certificate and send it to Louisville as our champions of life this year.
We do have to do that. Maybe we'll do that in a second. December 22nd. Here we go. By the way,
this is the bowl game like you say, like I've been dogging all these other bowl games. This is the bowl game. You're like, hey, guess what? We get to a bowl game. Guess where we're going? The Bahamas. You're like, yes.
UAB, back from the dead, goes to the Bahama Bowls to take on
especially for
Ohio.
These two teams. Like UAB, first year back.
Who wants to be in Ohio right now?
Yeah, Ohio, you're like, oh man, it's so cold. Guess what? You get to go to the Bahamas for a week. UAB, hey, guess what? Your first year back. Congratulations. You get to go to the Bahamas for a week.
You get to get out of Birmingham. Yeah.
Woo.
UAB, they're a good team. They were one good game away from being in that championship game against the FAU. They probably would have got stomped anyway. But, man, this is a hard game, actually. Ohio lost the last two games of the season, so they're on a losing streak. I think that cold streak is going to continue. Give me the Blazers in the Bahamas Bowl.
I'm also going to go with UAB because I like Ohio. I've watched a few of their games this year, but I think UAB is going to be more motivated to win down in the Bahamas. Like, hey, we got to get a win. It's our first bowl game being back. It's our first year being back, first bowl game. We're going to be motivated. They're going to finish out the year strong with a dub in the Bahamas.
Here we go, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Playing for that bowl of potatoes.
Central Michigan takes on Wyoming. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to take Central Michigan because they've been so good this season. And wide receiver Corey Williams has passed a certain wide receiver for the school's all-time touchdown reception list. And who is that receiver? Antonio Brown.
It's a big accomplishment.
That's a big accomplishment. I think he's done a great job. I think Central Michigan will keep it up, especially their quarterback, Shane Morris, who can pass 3,000 yards with this game. I know Wyoming has an NFL caliber quarterback, but Josh Allen, look, honestly, I'm wondering if Josh Allen's going to be one of those players that sits out his bowl game because he's trying to protect himself to get to the NFL.
I don't think he will. I think this is too big of a stage. This is his last, like it says in this packet, it's his last audition for NFL scouts until the scouting combine. I like Central Michigan. I like what they've done this year in the MAC, but I think Josh Allen's one of those sneaky good quarterbacks that's going to be one of the top, like he's going to be a Carson Wentz type quarterback where he's at a small school and he's going to go decently high in the draft for a team that needs a quarterback right now. I think he can lead Wyoming to a win in the bowl. Plus, they've technically got home field advantage. It's like you just drive just straight north. So there's going to be a lot of Wyoming fans in Boise.
Here we go. This will be a good game in the state of Alabama. Texas Tech takes on South Florida in the Birmingham Bowl down in Legion Field. I'm going to go with the boys from Florida, Quentin Flowers. He's a good quarterback. He can burn you so bad. Texas Tech is used to the Big 12 defenses. They ain't a Big 12 defense here in South Florida. Now, granted, they're not good, but they're not no Big 12 caliber either. Give me South Florida. I think Texas Tech defense just won't keep up, and South Florida and Quentin Flowers will have a field day.
I like Texas Tech. I like Cliff Kingsbury. He's a great coach. I
feel like every time you explain a game, the first team you mention you say a lot of good things for them.
And then I go with the other team.
And then you go with the other team.
And you're right. I'll go with South Florida because I like Charlie Strong. I like what he's done with the program. Quentin Flowers is a great quarterback. I think he should be NFL teams need to look at him as, he could be a decent backup in the NFL. I think South Florida's going to win this game.
The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, San Diego State, Army. Army did a great job beating Navy last week.
Go Army beat Navy.
We don't talk about that. But San Diego State's a whole different beast. Give me the Aztecs and Rashad Penny. Look, 2,000 yards. He leads the nation in rushing. I don't care who's it's against. There's a reason why San Diego State and Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny should have been invited to New York.
It's debatable, but he should have been invited at least last year.
So give me San Diego State.
They've got a great rushing attack down at San Diego State.
Okay, so that means you're going with Army. Okay.
But I think this the option and this run style of Army is going to take a toll on the San Diego State, whatever defense they have in San Diego. So I'm going to take the Army Black Knights. And it's the Armed Forces Bowl. What better bowl for Army to win?
They usually lose.
Shh. They're going to win this one.
The Dollar General Bowl down in Lad Peebles Stadium in Mobile, Alabama. Brooks, you'll be attending, won't you?
Probably. If I'm home. Yeah, so probably.
It is the game of yellow. It is.
Yellow and black versus yellow and blue.
It is App State versus Toledo.
I have a Toledo hat at home. Did you know that?
Okay, I'm going to go with Toledo, and I'm going to skip over the fact that you have a Toledo hat.
It's from they've already played. They played in the bowl game a few years back, and I bought it there. They played when it was the Dollar General Bowl. Both of these teams, I'm throwing you off here. Both of these teams are really good. I've seen Toledo play in.
Okay, you mentioned Toledo first. It means you're going App State. Am I correct?
Yes, I've seen Toledo play this year. They're familiar with Mobile. I think App State. This is going to be the first time I've ever seen App State play, and I like them I think they're a sneaky good team. So I'm going to go with App State to win in Mobile, Alabama.
And the Hawaii Bowl. Guess what? None of these teams are Hawaii because they're not bowl eligible. Take that, Hawaii. Fresno State and Houston go down to play at Hawaii Federal Credit Union Field at Aloha Stadium in Honolulu. That's a long name.
It's a really long name.
So long, in fact, that Fresno State has already scored a touchdown. Give me Fresno State to win this game.
Yeah, it's on the Christmas Eve game. I love the Hawaii Bowl because you get, my family usually goes to, sometimes we'll go to midnight mass. And so we'll sit there and we'll watch the Hawaii Bowl together before we get this game. I digress. Houston, Major Applewhite's done a decent job.
Okay, you're picking Fresno State.
Major Applewhite's done a decent job in his first year at Houston. I just don't think they're good enough to beat Fresno State, who are they still ranked or no? They were ranked at the end of the year.
They're right on the outside.
So I'm going to take Fresno State. I think they'll get I think it'll be a nice early Christmas present for them.
Here we go. So some bigger bowl games. This is Zaxby's Hardest Dallas Bowl in the Cotton Bowl. Utah taking on West Virginia. Look, West Virginia, especially if they get the quarterback back and Will Grier, they're going to win. That being said, there's a slim chance he could be back for the bowl game after undergoing surgery. So I'm not sure who can win this game. But given West Virginia, I just think they have too much firepower in it.
West Virginia's been one of those teams
All right, Utah.
Hold on. The West Virginia's been one of those teams that I've watched this year, and I thought they could beat. I thought they had a chance to beat Oklahoma when they played them late in the year. And where is this? This is in Dallas, right?
Yeah.
I think this is the heart of Big 12 country. I think West Virginia is going to come out, and
Big 12 country, because we apparently forgot where West Virginia is at.
I lost my train of thought. Mountaineers. I can't get my train of thought. I'm taking West Virginia.
Oh,
I don't
you
Utah,
changed it up on me.
Utah hasn't been a noteworthy team this year. I haven't heard anything about Utah this year.
In the Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit, so nobody wins this, to be quite honest.
This used to be the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl.
Duke takes on Northern Illinois.
Are you just going to stop there?
Oh, I was going to let you go.
Oh, I've watched both of these teams just a little bit this year. Northern Illinois has been they weren't on the level. Do you remember who their quarterback was a few years ago?
Wasn't like almost at Paxton Lynch for a second. It is not Paxton Lynch.
It was not Paxton Lynch. He was really good. I thought he deserved to win the Heisman. Obviously, he wasn't going to win it because he wasn't at a Power 5 school, but I don't remember what his quarterback's name was, but he was really good.
They should probably tell you enough, to be quite honest.
I think he's like a wide receiver in the NFL or something right now. But Duke has also been a sneaky good team this year. They won the Battle of Tobacco Road, which wasn't that hard this year because North Carolina was not that good. Sorry, Ryan. But I'm going to take Duke in this. I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to get one for David Cutcliffe.
I'm going to Duke as well. Northern Illinois just didn't impress me throughout the year. All right, next game. It is the Cactus Bowl, Kansas State versus UCLA. Give me the chosen Rosen, Josh Rosen, in this game. Give me UCLA because they're gonna be energized, mostly because they know that after this game, Chip Kelly's here, so they're gonna be like, yeah, we got a show out. Josh Rosen, UCLA, beat up on Bill Snyder in Kansas State.
I don't like to go against Bill Snyder because he's such a good football coach. And he can find ways to win games. Even like he's found a way to win at Kansas State, and they're not a perennial program. I just think Josh Rosen is going to be too much for this Kansas State non-existent defense. So I'm going to take UCLA in this one. This is a late night game too. This is like a 9:00 kick in Phoenix.
Yeah. All right.
Oh no.
Here it is. It is the Walk-On Independence Bowl. It is Southern Mississippi taking on the Seminoles of Florida State. Florida State getting that big win over ULM to become bowl eligible. They keep their streak up to 36 straight bowl games. Jimbo Fisher will not be there, but it doesn't matter because Florida State just has the athletes that will beat Southern Mississippi.
I think Florida State's going to be a little bit demoralized.
But will they win?
Because Jimbo left. Southern Miss has been a decent team the past few years. I'm not going to lie. They have been a decent team. I just don't know how motivated you can be for Florida State to come out in the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Louisiana. Can you imagine that, getting a bowl trip to Shreveport, Louisiana?
You walk in there, you look your players in the eye and said, if you win, I'm taking you down to Bourbon Street. They're going to win that ball game.
I'm going to take the upset. I'm going to take Southern Miss to upset Florida State in this game.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Again, I like to put a non-disclosure agreement on this. Blaine, these aren't my official bowl picks. You will have those later this week.
Iowa takes on Boston College in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl.
These are my official bowl picks for this show, though.
I'm going to take Iowa. Boston College, I mean, they're just there. Iowa is the big they got the big win over Ohio State. That just stands out to me.
I like what Steve Adazio's done with this Boston College team this year.
So you're picking Iowa.
Iowa's kind of was a big, they were big time. They beat Ohio State. They got some good wins, and then they kind of fell off. No one heard about them the last part of the year. I'm going to take Boston College in this because they're playing at Yankee Stadium. They got the home crowd behind them. I think Steve Adazio and the Boston College Eagles get the win.
In the Foster Farm Bowl, Jeff Brom and the Purdue Boilermakers take on Arizona and quarterback Khalil Tate. Khalil Tate, for a second, I thought he was going to be in the Heisman race. I really did. And you know what? He's going to prove that he should have been in the Heisman race. Give me Arizona. Give me Khalil Tate over Purdue.
Both of these teams have been lackluster this year. Like, I thought both of these teams would be better. I thought, full disclosure, I thought Purdue would be a lot better this year than they have been. I'm going to take Arizona in this because I think Rich Rod is the better coach than Jeff Brom, and I think he'll be able to coach his team up for this one.
In the Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl. Hey, guess what? It's Texas taking on Missouri. Let me tell you something. Missouri's about to score 50 points with Drew Lock. Give me Missouri.
Missouri's been one of those teams that has improved over the year. Like,
don't tell me about to pick Texas.
Don't
tell me. Don't tell me.
They started off this year so bad, and yet they have finished out the year really good. Texas, on the other hand, we had these first part of the year Texas is back. No, they're not. Yes, Texas is back. No, they're not. Texas is back. No, they're not. And I don't know, this is a tough game to pick because Missouri's lost their offensive coordinator.
I don't care. Yes, Drew Lock. He is your offensive coordinator.
It's going to be a tough one to pick. Texas is obviously going to have the home crowd as they're in Houston. This is a rematch of two Big 12 foes. I'm going to have to go with the hot team. I'm going to go Missouri. They've won a lot down the stretch. They've really turned it on this second half of the year. I'm glad Auburn played them in the first half of the year and before they got really good.
It's the Military
Not
Bowl.
Really good, but
this is on December 28th. This is the Military Bowl presented by the Northrop Grumman. Whatever. Or we've reached past an hour and a half. I'm running on fumes. Virginia takes on Navy.
Are you just going to stop there again?
I'm going to let you choose.
You're going to let me go?
Yeah.
Navy showed that Navy's always been a decent team. Virginia's come on recently this year. I just don't know how good Virginia actually is. And I always love the triple option and the elusiveness of the Navy football. So I think I'm going to take Navy in this one. They're going to bounce back from that loss against Army, and they're going to win this one.
I'm also going to go Navy. I mean, the triple option, it's hard to beat, and Virginia doesn't give me all the confidence in the world that they'll stop it. Here we go. Some good games now. The Camping World at Camping World Stadium. It is the Camping World Bowl. It is number 22 Virginia Tech taking on number 19 Oklahoma State. Look, Josh Jackson's had a great freshman season at Virginia Tech, but let me tell you something. Mason Rudolph, Mike Gundy, that is a whole different scenario you got to face. Virginia Tech's defense is not ready for the absolute offensive firepower that Oklahoma State's about to throw down on them. Give me Oklahoma State.
Justin Fuente and Virginia Tech. I like Justin Fuente as a coach.
Oh, here it comes.
Tech is a decent team. I think they can, within a year or two, they could challenge for the ACC championship. I just don't think I got to witness Oklahoma State firsthand this year, and that's an offense you don't want to mess with. And I don't think Virginia Tech can mess with that offense. I'm going to take Oklahoma State because Mason Rudolph. I think this is going to be Mason Rudolph's swan song. He's going to go out on a high and then hopefully get drafted very high in the NFL. I love Mason Rudolph.
Here we go. It is the Alamo Bowl. It's number 13 Stanford versus number 15 TCU. TCU got rocked by Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game.
It's an understatement.
Will Kenny Trill, a.k.a. Kenny Hill, be back? No. Give me Stanford and running back Bryce Love. They put up a good game against USC. Did they lose? Sure, but they show they are a good team.
TCU always has one of the better defenses in the conference.
Not against Oklahoma.
Last time, I don't know if you remember this. Last time TCU was in the Alamo Bowl, it was against Oregon.
They blew that lead.
No, they Oregon blew the lead.
Oh, Oregon.
TCU
Okay, yeah.
came
Oregon
back
blew
and
the
they
lead.
went to like 3 overtimes and they finally won. It crushed me because I was partying, man. I was rooting for Oregon. I'm like, this is great. Oregon's beating them, and then their starting quarterback went down, and TCU just came back and rocked Oregon. But like I said, TCU always has one of the great defenses in the Big 12, but they've got to go up against a Heisman Trophy finalist, Bryce Love, and this Stanford offense. I like Stanford. I think Stanford's going to win this. TCU is a good defense. It's still a Big 12 defense. I'm taking Stanford all the way.
I have to interject now because of a report coming through from Bleacher Report. Miami Marlins told John Carlos Stanton he'd be a Marlin for life if he didn't accept the trade to the Giants with the Cardinals.
Boo.
So that just happened. Back to bowls. In the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, Washington State, Michigan State, Luke Falk. I mean, the Washington State really fell off the rock after that abysmal performance against Cal. Michigan State, they've been kind of so-so throughout this year. They haven't been the same Michigan State they could have been. A lot better than last year, but not the same. Give me Washington State. I think their offense would just be too much for Michigan State.
Michigan State usually has a good team. They haven't the past 2 years. Well, were they in the playoff? No, they weren't. The past 2 years, ever since they played Alabama.
Ever since they got smashed by Alabama. How about that?
They have not been the same. I think Washington State's air raid offense is going to be a bit too much for this Michigan State Big Ten defense. I'm going to take Washington State and the Pirate. Yar.
In the Belk Bowl, Wake Forest, Texas A&M. Hey, it's Jimbo.
Not really, though.
Not really. But Wake Forest, I mean, yeah, they're a decently good ACC school, but Texas A&M has Christian Kirk. Texas A&M.
Texas A&M has Christian Kirk. Wake Forest has been a better team than most people would have thought this year, but A&M has also been a better team down the stretch than what they thought, even with firing Kevin Sumlin. I almost forgot his name.
He almost left your memory.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Texas A&M. I think A&M's going to be A&M is going to put up some points in this game.
In the Hyundai Sun Bowl, number 24 NC State versus Arizona State. NC State really fell off the rock after they beat in Louisville, didn't they?
They really did.
But I will say this: they're a lot better than Arizona State, and they will be for the next coming years after Herm Edwards gets there. NC State wins.
I think this is going to be weird because Todd Graham is going to coach this game for the Arizona State. So Arizona State is going to have their players be like, "Hey, let's win one more for coach. He's been with us. Let's win one more for coach." But I think NC State's the better team. I'm going to take the Wolfpack.
All right, going with the Wolfpack. In the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl and Nissan Stadium, Kentucky, Northwestern. This can be a really good game, but here's the thing. Northwestern's a really good Big Ten team. And the sad thing for Kentucky is that they don't have the offense to keep up with Northwestern. So give me Northwestern. Give me the Wildcats over the Wildcats.
I'm going to go same. I think Northwestern I think their defense is going to be the deciding factor here. I think they're going to shut down Kentucky, and Kentucky fans will slink back from, where is this game? Nashville?
Yeah, Nissan Stadium.
They're going to slink back from Nashville and go watch Kentucky basketball beat like Murray State by 50.
all of and that's all they said. It was a full-year cotton ball classic. USC, Ohio State. USC. What do you have? Ohio State was a good one. We're going to look at the practice. USC is a different places. One is really good history. I mean, one of that all of them. And one of that family. It's hard to do them. This is history. This is what we do at that time. So I think it's interesting that so, in the first, I'm going to say, how is it working? December 30th, when you talk to a boy, you will take on Mississippi State. Yeah, take on, you're the Mississippi State. How do I got that? Okay. You're going to take on Mississippi State, and all of those abilities are, it is Iowa State. I don't know Iowa State is a positive, okay? Focus is about the number of questions and they focus on questions. They're going to mind the concept. I've been talking about this. You need to find it. I need to do something. You're going to talk about more. I'm going to talk about